A soldier is dying on a battlefield. A sword has gone straight through his throat. A blade's tip he has now seen for the 17th time, his 17th death, and as the light fades, his last thoughts are quiet ones. If I had wielded the sword with a bit more effort, if I had worked a bit harder, perhaps I wouldn't have died here. And a voice answers. A ferryman on a black river beside a wooden boat. Do you really think that? Try struggling, feel it properly, and give up. The despair in front of a wall you cannot cross. The soldier doesn't get in the boat, and so he wakes up. In his camp, on the same morning he's already lived 17 times. His name is Encrid. No talent, no bloodline, no cheat. All he has is that death refuses to keep him. This is the story of the most stubborn man who ever lived. Let me tell you all of it. It starts with the same sound it always starts with, pans clanking through a border war camp, and Encrid waking up as squad leader of the least respected unit in now Lilia's army, the 444th. He'll tell you how he got here. He caused enough trouble that command demoted him to babysitting the misfits nobody else wants. And what a collection. Rem, an axe-wielding barbarian who treats lethal combat like light stretching. Ragnar, a lazy swordsman allergic to effort. Odin, a giant monk who prays more than he speaks. Jackson, quiet in the way that makes smart people nervous. And Kreis, big eyes, who couldn't swing a sword to save his life, but never misses a chance to profit. To the rest of the army, they're rejects. Keep that thought. This story loves making the rest of the army wrong. But this morning isn't ordinary. Encrid has lived it before. He proves it in small, quiet ways. He tells a squadmate there's a bug in his boot before the man ever feels it. And when now Lilia's line crashes into the Principality of Aspens, he moves through the battle like a man walking through his own memory, stepping around deaths before they happen, pulling a squadmate out of the path of an arrow that, in another version of today, already killed the man. It isn't instinct, and it isn't luck. It's 17 of the worst days of his life, put to work. Because waiting in the middle of that battlefield is the reason the day keeps repeating, an Aspen elite with a smile like a knife and an unorthodox reversed grip. Encrid watches the thrust come, dodges it, and the counter finds his throat anyway. Death, number 17. And sinking into the dark, Encrid reflects, and we finally see who this man is. A boy in a nowhere village, taught the sword by a retired mercenary. The first person who ever looked at him and said the word that would ruin his life. Knight. If he's this good at such a young age, he could become a knight. The word planted itself like a seed. The boy began to dream. So, he worked. Not hard, insanely. Thousands of swings a day, at a tree, until the iron hummed on its own. Training past dark, past pain, past the point where the village stopped laughing with him and started laughing at him. And slowly, stubbornly, hope grew anyway. Maybe effort could close the gap. Then he sparred a 12-year-old, a genius who had held a sword for 6 months, and that child took Encrid apart in a single exchange, sword tip to the belly, years of work dismantled in seconds by talent that had barely woken up. That's the moment that breaks most people. Encrid doubled down. If he couldn't be the strongest, he'd be the most experienced. More swings, more years. No talent ever arrived to save him, just calluses, scars, and a dream that refused to die politely. That's the man inside this loop. Here's what Encrid actually knows, because nobody handed him a tutorial. When he dies, the day comes back. Only he remembers. The first death felt like déjà vu, a nightmare. Then came a second, a third, a fourth, and the sensation of a blade going through your body is not something you get used to. His best guess for the cause? Years ago he saved a poor village, because protecting the weak is what a knight would do. The elder couldn't pay, and instead pressed a charm into his hand that grants a desperate wish. A joke at the time. Now that joke restarts a day every time a blade finds his throat. And here's the dark part. This blessing has been given before, and every soul who received it broke, despaired, and got in the boat. The ferryman isn't offering rest. He's waiting, For the day, the ambition in this man's eyes goes dark. And wall, that's the ferryman's word. The despair in front of a wall you cannot cross. Encrid took the word meant to break him and made it his to-do list. Walls exist to be climbed. Morning, pans, and Encrid, done dying quietly, walks up to Rem and says, "Teach me the heart of the beast." Rem swings an axe at his face to test him, and Encrid keeps his eyes open, tracks it, dodges. Rem stops cold. Nobody stops flinching overnight. I trained. Rem doesn't buy it for a second, and grins anyway. That sounds good. Let's spar. The heart of the beast. Keep your eyes open all the way to the end. A beast doesn't know what death means, so it doesn't blink. Fear closes your eyes half a second before the blade lands, and that half second is where men die. So begins the grind. Spar Rem, get disarmed, fight the swordsman, die, and each time a boot on his chest and the same words, "You must be suffering. Let me give you a merciful death. Mercy, my ass." The man enjoys this, his 33rd life, his 111th. Still not enough. His 123rd. Rem diagnoses the real gap, not technique, conviction. Stop doubting your own blade. And one repeated morning, Encrid forces the axe back with the very thrust that keeps killing him, hand-pouring blood, laughing like a lunatic. Rem asks if he's insane. Probably. He's also finally mastered the stab. One quiet night, stabbing a tree, the doubt speaks up. What if I repeat this 10,000 times and still can't win? What if I ran? He answers by splitting the tree in two. He will not waste this gift. The final loop starts differently. Encrid orders Christ to get him a shield, armor, and a dagger. Pay you later. Tells Rem to take guard duty. The squad exchange looks, since when is the boss this commanding? Warhorn. He blocks the rear ambush he knows is coming. Stops a leg sweep with a shin guard he's never worn before today. Saves his squad mate from the arrow, same as every loop. And at the center of the field, the wall is waiting. Smiling. They collide. The first exchange is what it's always been. The swordsman faster, sharper, grinning. Encrid's shield shatters. He throws the wreckage aside and catches the next strike on his sword. But this time, he isn't fighting to survive the man. He's fighting to beat him. 100 deaths have shown him the one crack in all that talent. This elite has never once had a hard fight. So Encrid gives him one. Gutter style. A headbutt into that grinning face, and a boot full of dirt flung into his eyes. Blind and furious, the swordsman commits everything to his counter, the reversed grip thrust that has ended Encrid more than 100 times. And Encrid watches it come. Eyes open. Heart of the beast. He slips past the blade by a finger's width, swings with everything those deaths built, and shatters the man's sword. Across the field, an archer looses an arrow at his blind side, and Rem's thrown axe smashes it out of the sky. The swordsman is on his knees, staring at the broken hilt, trembling. Encrid stands over him, raises his sword, and returns 100 deaths' worth of words, with interest. This is mercy. The first wall is dead. He gets 3 seconds to enjoy it. A kick slams into his back, and standing over him is a ponytailed frogman. The warrior race, born for battle. He looks down at the dead elite. Pervert, he calls him, can't believe he lost, and swings to erase Encrid. Rem's axe meets the blow, the 2 trade strikes almost too fast to follow, while another Aspen soldier lunges for the downed Encrid and loses his head to Krang's sword. Then the monsters hop apart, and Rem delivers one of the great lines of the series. If you want to kill my squad leader, you need permission first. The frogman is confused. Why is the weakling the commander, and not this one? And his logic reveals what Rem's been hiding. Frogs die 2 ways, burned by magic, or dropped in 1 clean hit. Nothing about Rem says 1 clean hit. Killing this man would cost his own life. This tiny battlefield isn't worth it. He walks away. Rem calls him a coward. And then, the shot this arc was building to, the madmen carrying their half-dead captain off the field, Krang bearing his weight, Rem holding the rear, the rest cutting down pursuers, every eye watchful. The rejects of the army, formed like a wall around the most ordinary man in it. On the Black River, The ferryman notes he survived one more day. Only one. Despair is still his fate. Encrid glances at the wall behind him. Those exist, so I can overcome them. The ferryman just smiles. He can wait. One wall down, 123 lives to climb it. And here's the thing about Encrid's road. The walls don't get kinder. The next one won't wait for him on a battlefield in daylight, where a man can raise his sword. The next death is already moving toward him, quiet as smoke, patient as the ferryman, and it will find him somewhere no soldier can fight back. In his sleep. That wall is the next video. If you want it, subscribe and hit like so I know you're in. I rank every manhwa I recap on Toon Ranks. Link below. See where this one placed. Real titles in the pinned comment. See you in the vault.